Hi everybody, I'm Sandy Courtney. I'm the Youth Services Librarian here at the Munson Free Library. March, of course, is Women's History Month, and in honor of Women's History Month, I am going to do 4 quick 1-minute book reviews highlighting some of my favorite biographies about women that you may or may not have heard of before. I'd like to start with this one, Shark Lady. One of the things I love about biographies is that they make people's stories relatable based on topic matter. So if you have a kiddo who's really into sharks, they might not really be into reading, but they might read a story about the Shark Lady. This is a true story of how Eugenie Clark became the ocean's most fearless scientist. I love this story because Eugenie Clark was actually born in the 1920s in New York, at a time when women were not supposed to be scientists, and absolutely people did not look at sharks as beautiful and amazing part of the ecosystem. They looked at them as terrifying and horrible and scary, and she thought they were beautiful and studied them immensely. So I really love this. The illustrations in this book are fantastic. There's a lot of good back matter, and I highly recommend it. There's a nice timeline that kind of goes through her life. She went to school, earned multiple degrees, and was a real advocate for sharks. So I highly recommend Shark Lady. I would give it a 5 out of 5. Also, in the category of people you may not have ever heard of, I love this book, The Secret Engineer, How Emily Roebling Built the Brooklyn Bridge. So in the 1800s, women, of course, were not engineers. Emily was actually married to the engineer Washington Roebling, who was building the Brooklyn Bridge, and he fell ill, and she basically took over. She had traveled, she had learned with him, and was fascinated with the whole process. She actually basically saved the whole process of building the Brooklyn Bridge when the men that were in charge were physically incapacitated and unable to do so. And she's somebody that we just don't hear about. So I absolutely love this book, especially if you have taken the kids to New York City, if you've ever walked across the Brooklyn Bridge. It's kind of amazing, you know, and at the time that it was built, Brooklyn and New York City were separate entities. The bridge bringing them together was a really big deal. So this is a fabulous book, again, especially for those who love New York City, who might visit often. It's a sweet story, so you should check it out. So those are a couple of picture books. There's several on display here, and they will be on display all month. I highly encourage you to come by and check them out. So for older kids, one of the things that I love about biographies is, especially for children who are not necessarily engaged by stories, stories about people that share their passion can often be the key to getting them reading. So I love the Young Readers edition of Misty Copeland's Life in Motion. Misty Copeland, of course, African-American dancer, did not come to ballet until she was like 13. Really inspiring story. She was the first African-American principal dancer to be a member of the American Ballet, and her story is just really empowering. I also love that she talks a lot about people being able to be dancers no matter what their size, their shape, or how old they are, and her passion for dance really comes through. So this is a great biography for the dancer in your life. So for older readers, again, this is a great book for middle school kids. I would recommend it maybe 5th to 8th grade or even 9th grade, although I really enjoyed it as an adult as well. Promise of Change, One Girl's Story in the Fight for School Equality by Joanne Boyce. It's the story of 12 high school students in Clinton, Tennessee, who were the first to integrate their high school. Their community in Clinton, Tennessee, she describes it as a courteous, yes ma'am, no sir kind of place where blacks and whites seem to get along, but something darker lurks beneath the civility in Clinton, and when outside agitators interfere, local whites' muffled objections turn into unrestrained bigotry and violence. And soon even the Clinton 12 themselves are questioning whether it's worth all the effort and the stress and the rendering of their community to persevere. Spoiler alert, she perseveres. It's a fantastic story, very powerful. For kids who appreciated the story of Ruby Bridges as a youth This is a great follow-up story to just remind us of what was involved in pursuing education for blacks in our country. So I highly recommend this book. I give it a 5 out of 5. So there are a number of fantastic biographies. If your kiddo is interested in a certain subject, please feel free to get in touch with me. You can always email me at scourtney@cwmars.org, and I am happy to help you and your kiddo find just the right book. Thanks so much for watching. We hope to see you soon.